Welcome back to Timecode Cowboys. But first.
Oh, yeah.
That feels good. Cheers.
Cheers.
Back in the saddle again. Here we are. We switched up our seats this time just because I have a little pimple on my nose and I didn't want that to be prominent. So if I had been sitting in my usual seat, you would have been seeing that blemish.
Okay. It's always good to realize you're young enough to have pimples.
Excuse me. Well, I was going to say our makeup artist is off.
Yes,
off today.
crew, our hair and makeup, grip and electric. Everybody's gone. Craft services. It's just us.
And
Wait, it's always just us.
It's always just us. I chipped my finger when I was doing I was trying to fix my tripod. I got the fluid head off because it was like imbalanced.
But it wasn't.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I was seeing things. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No.
I'm wearing sunglasses because we're talking about something very special today. A movie that you actually remember watching with you when I was quite young, and it had a profound impact on me. And it might be actually one of the few cases of a film where I saw the sequel before the original. In fact, actually, I'm almost certain of the fact that I saw this sequel before the original.
It's probably the way you should watch them. It's a
yeah,
movie.
for sure it is. But if you haven't guessed already, it is
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2.
Two for short.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Okay, so that's the theme song. That's the.
My God, I remember being a kid, and when that slaps the beginning of it, I was like, "Oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life."
Movie.
It is.
And dealing with something that we've been talking
But a pertinent
about,
movie.
Obviously, because it's AI is a story point, a major story point.
Yeah, we didn't just watch it because it's a good action movie, which it is.
Anybody who's been watching this or listening to us knows we've been talking a lot about artificial intelligence, how it's going to affect the film industry, and not just the film industry. We started going down a road of like, what are the cool movies that have used AI? This one, obviously, I think kind of comes up first. But
yes,
in some serious digging, we found I had a list compiled of movies that went way back. You know, like Metropolis is a perfect example of silent era, but also, you know, there were movies in the 60s, Colossus, The Forbidden Project, which we're going to watch.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that. You dug that
that's
one.
Michael Crichton's first film, I think. It's based on one of his, or he wrote it. It may not have been based on a novel.
Who directed Westworld? Because that was a Michael Crichton book too, right?
Yeah.
It's basically Jurassic Park, but with robots.
Yeah. I can't remember.
But yeah, the point you're making is that this is not a new concept in terms of sci-fi. Humans have been obsessed with the question of robotic intelligence, artificial intelligence for, and
what it means.
A while. For basically, honestly, since the birth of science fiction, we've been struggling with this. I would even argue Frankenstein is essentially that story, right? It's about creating life in the form of yourself and what it means to have, to be like Prometheus stealing from the god.
I actually, a couple of times watching the movie the other day with you, I pointed out that even physically, there are moments when, Schwarzenegger's character,
it's 100 exoskeleton.
It reminded me of, Karloff doing Frankenstein.
Can you do your Arnold impersonation?
What did he say about
I'm with Model T1.
Human tissue grown over
Human tissue grown over a metal exoskeleton.
That's it. That's my favorite line. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle now.
The guy goes, "You forgot to ask, please." That's such a... Well, okay, so,
Mayhem
yes, Terminator 2.
Great cold opening.
2, Judgment Day, is hands down, I think, one of the best movies ever made. Also,
science fiction.
I think it's one of the best ever. It's great. It delivers on all platforms. It's one of the best ever.
It's really good.
It's one of the best ever. And I would also say that it is in there in the pantheon of, yes, of course, sci-fi films, but then also movie sequels that surpass the quality of the original.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think, people call Cameron the king of sequels because of his kind of track record of improving upon his own IP.
I disagree with that in terms of Alien. I don't.
Yeah, well, Aliens is great,
movie.
and
it's an army movie
for sure. For sure,
it's way more mysterious and thought-provoking. I thought.
Yeah, and there's of course the infamous story of the way in which he pitched that, which I think now has been debunked, but apparently there was a story for a while that he went into Fox.
You guys take those off. I can't do it anymore.
When he went, can I just finish this story? He went into Fox, wrote on a whiteboard, Alien, and then just wrote an S and, dropped the marker, mic drop, and walked out of the room. And I mean, I don't think that's how he actually sold it, but that's the prevailing theory.
That's a great story.
Excuse me.
Seriously?
Is it crazy with my shades?
Aliens. Yeah, they're...
Yeah. Well, I'm wearing them because of what we're talking about.
I know. I mean,
Okay, I'll take them off when we get into... All right, final.
I can just see me.
Oh, they're two wraparound?
There's two...
Pretty cool, though.
Some circles.
Okay, but let's just get through sort of like setting the table with regards to what Terminator is. So,
just, let me a couple of tidbits that we've been learning about, just some financial things, and then you should talk about the general plot line and why we picked it.
Yeah.
So the original movie cost only about $6 million, which is crazy when you see
The Terminator.
Yeah. Was on the screen, and they did a great job doing that. It's a lot like Mad Max with no money.
Quickly interjecting, do you remember going to see that when it came out and it being kind of a big cultural moment?
Yeah. But the sequel was like what did we read? Somewhere between $94 and $102 million production budget, which at the time made it was literally the most expensive film ever made.
Which has now been surpassed, of course, by...
Oh.
Well, then
now
F1 was the most expensive? Yeah. Okay, but at the time, that's still
a significant... budget. Portion of that, I'm sure, went to Industrial Light and Magic and a lot of the
and Arnold's salary.
Between 12 and 15, they said.
Because not to interject again, because I think what you're getting to is important to set context. But in between the first Terminator and the second one, he had become even bigger.
He had done Aliens, and also Arnold. Yeah,
Schwarzenegger was like
Total
mega
Recall
star.
was a huge hit.
Yeah,
international star.
Right. Yeah,
as well. And he was. I would venture that he was when they made the first one. I mean, he'd already done Conan, I think, and all that.
Yeah, so he just got even bigger in between.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He's really good in that movie.
Well, yeah, he gets some range in the sequel.
He has to do something as a character.
Yeah, he's playing an automaton, but there is a layer there.
Slowly starting to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't know if they even did that on purpose after reading about the back and forth in terms of the script. But I mean, that's essentially the whole concept of AI, isn't it? That it can learn and reason and
yeah, it'll change as input that, changes. Frankly. Yeah. Okay, but you're going to say the first one comes out, it's a big hit, but on a meager budget, so it makes
meager budget.
Profit.
And then there was a battle with Hemsdale Films, which owned a big chunk of or half of the rights to the movie. They couldn't make a sequel without their sign off.
Yeah.
So, and Gail Ann Hurd was part of that company, and now she was divorced from James Cameron. So it was a real sticky.
And he's got a history of getting married to his collaborators because he was married to Catherine Bigelow, and they co-wrote Near Dark together and Strange Days, and so he definitely shits where he eats.
Well, that's one way to put it. But he also
Jimmy,
he associates with filmmakers, so that's the other way to look at it.
Right.
Anyway, so. Took a while to make it. Arnold ended up helping by getting Carlico to come in and basically buy the rights, and then which cleared the way for them to make the movie.
Yeah,
but it was tricky all the way to the end, and because of that, there was already a release date assigned. So, you've got this massive budget, and you're making the movie under a time crunch, which is always terrible.
Well, but it's also crazy that you look at what the first one came out 84, was it, or something like that?
Yeah, it was like
we could Google it.
4-5 year gap before they started.
Yeah. Also, guys, keep us honest here. We open source our information.
We are often incorrect.
And please, in the comments, if you have knowledge to add to this or whatever. I mean, you did a deeper dive than me on Wikipedia and just IMDb and stuff. And
yeah, but, I mean, I knew it.
Some of this was probably part of the lore as Hollywood. As we put some distance on this movie because it was a giant hit at the time, but it's now. It doesn't feel old to me because I remember watching it as a kid and it feeling really relevant. And it does age well, I will say, as a tangent. Like
even the effects. Yeah, I mean, there are a couple things
it's good
at the early days of CG.
Early CG, but he mixes effective. It. I mean, again, we were talking about it. Like he said time and time again how I think he learned from like Ray Harryhausen that never use the same trick twice. It's like an old magician saying too, where it's like literally he even up and through Titanic, I feel like was very much his mantra was like, don't, if you can disguise it with a couple different techniques and like mix those in, like it's going to sell way better to an audience. I think now he's obviously so far down the rabbit hole with digital and
but I mean,
synthetic universe.
I you're hitting on something that I feel strongly about too. It's like, don't lean on the technology to solve any problems in terms of what your film's going to be. It's got to be there to enhance it. And then they had to come up with some creative ways to do things because they started before they were able, apparently they met with Industrial Light and Magic, but they were still writing up until, the production started practically. Yeah. And they couldn't have them sign off on everything. Can you do this?
And they're like,
they didn't get to ask that question all the time. And then sometimes they'd find out once they had started shooting. And then you've got to, all right, well, what can we do?
What can we do in camera?
Jaws is a good example.
Scale model.
It's like the shark didn't work, which in a way would probably save that movie.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Right, exactly. It's this whole question, too,
the
of
less
like...
you see, this.
It's actually interesting in the context of talking about AI and limitless possibility and the way it sort of degrades on a larger sense. I'm not trying to sound like some alarmist, but it does degrade art, right? Because what it's doing is replacing a process with instantaneous results. And if anything's possible, what's the value of anything anymore, right? That's the sort of thing. But with this movie, they had to mix it together. It's still very analog. They're even down to the T-1000 being early CG, but we're still using Stan Winston prosthetics for when it gets busted open. Or there's a lot of analog quality to this film.
Which then gives you the freedom. Now it's not such a big deal, but back then it gives you the freedom to move the camera around, something like that.
I think I would argue maybe it's just because of the way it's aged and my own nostalgia now for that type of filmmaking because we're so digital. But it makes it age so much better. It looks better because of its anchor in reality and like scale model stuff and rear projection.
I think that's a cautionary tale for filmmakers who rely too heavily on. I mean, obviously, every month it seems that these things are looking better and better.
Yeah.
But still, it's like at some point, I mean, I even felt that way watching Superman, which very entertaining. But you're looking at all this stuff going, I don't know what the hell. I mean,
yeah. It's tough. You need, there's like a threshold. There's a threshold where it becomes too plastic, and then you're just kind of, there's no anchor anymore.
I mean, one of the things that sells this in particular, I mean, the stunt work is amazing. And the stunt driving, I mean, I was just reading today, and I've done this before when I've had to do car stuff, sitting on the floor with a bunch of toy cars, choreographing all that action scene. And what Cameron would do is he would videotape what he was setting up and then send it to the storyboard artist to break down into.
So cool. I want to see those videotapes. That's awesome.
I know, but it works. I've done that. I've sat with a stunt guy on the floor like a kid with cars.
I mean, that's but he is like, this is bar none some of the best action ever photographed.
Oh, it's really
that's quite a
and beautifully cut.
Statement,
I have to say, it's like
it's clean.
It's really well tight.
We watched the other day, which we set up a camera for, and we were remarking on that first big chase sequence when they're in the reservoir. And it's
motorcycle.
It's Arnold being chased by the truck, and he's on the back of the.
A lot of great LA locations too.
Some good, like valley locations. I think. Are we out in Pacoima for some of it?
They were. Yeah, it was all.
Why does it feel like Pacoima?
It looked like a lot of San Fernando Valley.
Yeah. Keep us honest in the chat if it isn't Pacoima.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't drill too deep into where they shot everything. Anyway. I mean, you could recognize a lot of parts of town. I think you've earned that.
Okay.
I didn't even start with mine. I was gonna, but
I got some croquis, so I always have the option to put them back on.
Yeah, you could wear them like you're about to go ocean fishing now.
That feels much better. How's it looking?
It's better. See, now I could see which way you're looking. I'm not seeing my shadow.
I'm sorry. Was that throwing you off a little bit? Yeah. Anyway, quick adjustment. The eyes are the windows to the soul, aren't they? And in Terminator 2, our Terminator...
What's the other line? The eyes are the nipples of the face?
I never heard that one.
That was Anna Faris. I forget what that was from.
Anna Faris?
Yeah,
the comedian?
It was a comedy, the actress.
Is it in the House Bunny, the movie where she
Might have been that.
That's a random one to pull out.
The soul.
Well, hey, brief remark on Terminator 2. Apparently, when I watched it as a kid, so I remember watching it, but you said that I was obsessed with the scene where Arnold pulls off the skin, right?
Yes.
And he's like, whenever Furlong's like, show him, and he shows Dyson's family that he's like
he
an
literally
exoskeleton.
removes the skin off his
arm. What did I say after?
Danny, the next morning we were at breakfast, and he turns to my wife, his mom, Tammy, and says, "Would you cut off your skin and show me your bones?"
Yeah,
pretty much.
I thought I was like, everyone
you could do that. I guess
you could do that. You could show the hand, but I was what, 8 years old, probably.
Well, yeah. No. When you saw it, I'd have to remember.
Pretty young. Yeah, but I think that's cool. A lot of my personality has been informed by the fact that I saw T2 too young.
It's on me.
It's great, but then I saw
I was convincing Tam.
Oh, it's fine. Well, you know what? It actually does have. Okay, so there is heart. The argument for that would be, it actually is a film with a message and an ideology, and you do got to credit James Cameron for trying something different, right? Because he made his name on the first one, which is very much just sort of like,
yeah, and he didn't have a lot of people in his corner because both Arnold and
Yes.
his writing partner both thought, what are you talking
why
about?
are we making the Terminator empathetic all of a
heart.
sudden? You know, what is this double fake going on where the antagonist from the first film becomes the protector? But actually, that is the central thing that makes the film compelling, is that relationship, you know?
It's interesting, too, because watching it the other day, it was the first time I realized that there's an awful lot of time that goes by when you don't know who's the villain. But I knew from the reviews before I saw it in the theater that Arnold was going to be a good guy in that movie. And it was like watching it with you the other day, I thought, fuck, I wish I had never read that.
I was
going
to
put that at such a
That's
spoiler
interesting because
alert.
now you answer my question, because I was going to ask you, you know, it's one of those things where you can't, the horse is out of the barn now, and I've seen it so many times, so it's so baked into the knowledge of the movie that you can't go back and experience it for the first time.
Well, like I kind of did notice that this time.
Yeah, but they do string you along. So like if you were going in blind,
Yeah, right up until the hallway in the hospital, you don't know who's a good guy.
it's true. Well, up until the mall hallway.
The mall.
But then even then it's like Linda Hamilton's reaction.
Yeah,
is
they
still-
both go through that
yeah,
moment
exactly.
with the audience that finds out in the mall.
Yeah, but it is cool that he did that, because I think, you know, if you're going in cold,
You assume
I assume
immediately
if you
it's
if you hadn't read the articles and stuff, I mean, I'd be interested to see this, or if anyone remembers, let us know. The marketing did not allude to that fact. Like, I imagine that was a pretty tightly kept secret, that like all the advertising for the film probably was oriented around the idea that like he's still the villain. Right?
Although, you know,
Like, where the
this is an
posters-
interesting debate because
yeah,
there's
'cause,
probably
like,
an
what's-
answer that neither one of us know.
Yeah.
Because that obviously they tell you early on that one that is being sent to Earth. Well, you don't know which one's which, but the one with the better tech. Once that becomes apparent, you know who the villain is, and
Yes.
you do find that out before.
Well, they just say in the beginning, the VO, it's like, yeah, he sent two back. He sent one. The machine sent one back to kill him, and he reprogrammed one to protect. Yeah. And so you're like, well, which
You kind of
they don't even say reprogram; they just say he sent one back. Yeah. So that's just the necessary context you need, and then from there,
you're not 100%
you're not 100% sure, because they do play it kind of like you see Arnold materialize first, and you got the great opening sequence.
A nice guy in that sequence.
No, he's not, but it's also played for laughs.
Although he
bad to the bone.
It's
great
played
for laughs.
Opening sequence.
Yeah, awesome.
Laughs. Yeah,
and I think
great stunt work.
Oh my God, such good stunt work. That thing of him flinging the guy onto the stovetop is great. God damn.
I know.
The sound effects in this really sell it,
just
don't
watching
they?
it. Yeah. I mean, it's a really technically well-made movie.
Yeah.
But it has a fun story. I mean, a message.
It does. Yeah, and I think the message is that, excuse me, and I think the message is something.
The verge of killing ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean,
artificial intelligence.
James Cameron really does show his tree hugger hippie roots a lot, and he's been honest about this, because you know he was very much self-made. But
he's
he's
tree hugger personality.
He's notoriously a yeller, and he has since sort of atoned for his sins or whatever as he's gotten older and more at peace with his process.
Doesn't make it okay, man. I'm sorry.
You know, hey man, he was a Canadian trucker who saw Star Wars and just quit his day job and decided to start working for Roger Corman because he was all in on filmmaking. So I admire the man for his gusto and his panache and his ability to kind of bootstrap his own life together. And look at where he is now. He's a fucking billionaire.
Oh, yeah.
He's gone to the bottom of the ocean. He's like, I was saying the other day watching this film and the way he innovates to get a process that works for him, because he's very tech forward and he's always been that way. He's like a Howard Hughes sort of the modern era where I feel like he's grown into kind of a little too scared to go do.
A producer.
Would Lucas ever go to the bottom of the ocean or do like any of that wild
but
antics?
I don't know if that matters. Yeah.
You go, no, I don't want to go in there.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go there.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it either. But I'm saying like James Cameron is definitely more of the kind of entrepreneur sort of. I'm a innovator. I build things. He's much more.
He does everything
exactly, which is cool. And yes, I'm sure he was an asshole on the set of this movie.
So the crew made shirts that said, "You can't scare me. I work for Jim Cameron."
Now we got to get some of those shirts.
Oh, I wonder if they're
because I haven't worked for him, but give me one of those shirts. Yeah. Anyway, so but I think the proof is in the pudding because this movie has aged really well, and a lot obviously has been.
It was a massive success.
A massive success at the time, and continues to be relevant, and is even more relevant to this day, considering what we're going through. So. I think just in terms of like what's part of the cocktail of what made this really good sci-fi is also just what makes it really good filmmaking in general. That's why I think it's like one of the best. But
no, and I mean, when we started talking about this, it stemmed from our pods that we've been doing, because we've been, obviously AI is in the news every day. It's in the entertainment news every day. Side note, Danny and I tomorrow are going to the Directors Guild. They're doing their digital day, but this year it's all about AI. So we're kind of excited to see what that's all about. And I'm curious to see what the guilds, how they present it.
Yeah, me too. There's a keynote address from Joseph Kosinski, who directed F1, because apparently they had some crazy innovative multicam, almost like live editing set up there, where they had all their cameras stitched together.
Saying you have to read that.
Well, I'm sure we're going to get the deep dive tomorrow. Yeah. But then alongside that, they have vendors with booths from different, basically runs the gamut from people that are offering AI tools for post-production or AI tools for VFX. So it seems like they're trying to kind of...
I didn't mean to take a sideways. All I was saying is the reason we ended up picking T2, not to just cut you off. But,
it's okay.
But we will do... I think we should do a pod about that.
Well, yeah.
After we do it. I know. We are going tomorrow. But anyways, so because we've been discussing doing AI stuff, or about AI, we figured one of these pods we got...
Well, how many days do we go? Skynet. I mean, also it's become part of the culture that I think even people who haven't seen Terminator 2 or even mess with that kind of bracket of sci-fi at all, it's like one of these things that's become part of the modern lexicon of like AGI, artificial intelligence, Skynet. It's going to go sentient. Like it's funny how James Cameron's film has become like,
well, those words.
There's this weird crossover hybrid effect happening between like the way we imagine the future and the way it's actually kind of panning out to be now. And so it was bizarre to watch this movie, because so much of like what makes up the motor of the plot of like why we end up in the future envisioned in this film, right, where we're at war with the machines, is because of the very safeguards that are getting eroded right now. So it's a little chilling.
It does hit a resonant tone there for sure, because so much of it stems on that as they gain enough intelligence to start speaking to each other.
Yes.
They want to eliminate the human race because we aren't needed anymore.
But the thing I was trying to say about the tree hugger thing, and I say that in a loving way, because I like his messages that ultimately he's like, we're a pugilistic,
ruining our planet,
belligerent society. We're ruining our planet. What are we doing? Like,
well, there's a line in the movie too,
to each other. Yeah,
it's human nature to kill each other.
Yeah. Also, oh my God, the scariest sequence though is the nuclear sequence of her nightmare of Los Angeles getting a bomb dropped on it. That's scary as shit, dude. I can't believe I saw that as a kid.
Well,
that's why I'm fucked up.
Maybe you weren't sure I showed it to you when you were really little.
You forced me to watch it when I was a child.
I held your eyes.
That's why I'm wearing these sunglasses now.
It was like Clockwork Orange. I had your eyes held open. Exactly. Your eyelids. I was just putting drops in there while you watched the movie.
That's how I watched most of these things. Yeah. No, but I think he differs from like, and it's cool that he took something that he made his name on a film that I haven't gone back and watched Terminator, the first one recently. It's been a couple years, but it's recent enough in my memory that I know it's like, because of the budget, because of it kind of being this like schlocky B movie, it feels much more programmatic in that way. And that like
it's a genre
film. It's full on genre picture, and it's good. Yeah, don't get me wrong. And again, that kind of launched his career. It did in a way. So he got everything after that. But I really like that he evolved and expanded the kind of remit of what he was doing for the second film. It wasn't just a recapitulation. It was like, no, if we're gonna do this,
got an idea.
Yeah, exactly. Let's expand what makes. But
what did happen since they brought in that other company, Carlico, to buy the rights to the movie, it was such a contentious and expensive thing for them. I think it ended up being about $17 million for them to buy out the other company. They turned to James Cameron and said, "We're making this fucking movie with or without you."
Really?
Yeah, because
they got involved and it just was.
We're going to do this now, so he got to work.
Yeah,
they wanted their money back. He'd done in the interim, he did The Abyss and Aliens, so he was busy. Arnold was doing stuff too, but then when they got down to talking about making the movie, they realized they were in a real jam with this other company.
Yeah,
and I guess there was bad blood that had started on the first movie where they wanted to recut the ending.
Yeah,
I think without Cameron, which almost got physical. They were wrong, clearly, because the movie, as it was screened, did really well.
It is a great reveal in this, too, where I'm imagining sort of being an audience member watching it for the first time. But in addition to the fake out of our antagonist is now the hero, which must have been like such a fucking crazy moment to be watching that in 91, not knowing. There's also the equally, if not more, kind of what the fuck moment of like the Dyson guys going into the vault and it's the hand and the chip, which is like what wasn't destroyed in the first film.
But that's when
cool.
The two of us went, right, this doesn't make any sense.
But it never made sense even in the first one because Kyle Reese sleeps with Sarah Connor, and it's because Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor sleep together that John is born, who then grows into the leader of the human resistance. So it's this closed loop, a snake eating its own tail.
If the technology for the chip was how they were able to make the leap to AI, now this is where it gets confusing. If they didn't have, they wouldn't have had the chip from the Terminator if he hadn't come back in the first film. So what?
They're in a closed causal loop. It's like a tautology or whatever,
I think
where
it's
like
one
thing
where somebody at one point they went,
it begets the other.
It doesn't matter. I would love to know. I bet if I asked that question of Jim Cameron, he would probably be able to
a very articulate answer. In fact, we can probably find it.
If it's out there, let me know. But if the chip was how, I don't know. I can't quite.
I got an answer. Oh. Hey Siri, how is it possible in the Terminator? This is AI. Siri's AI.
All right.
What makes her not AI?
I would use the chat app.
No, it's going to pull from that too because it does that.
All right. You don't have the chat app.
Oh my God. Hey Siri, how is it possible in the Terminator franchise for John Connor to be alive while Kyle Reese is alive? And how is it possible that the Terminator chip that creates Skynet is not...
That's going to be a good answer. And now we're going to have to read it.
It says in the changed timeline, Skynet has transformed John into a T-3000 task.
Oh, it's hallucinating.
Oh, it's not actually pulling from Wikipedia. Maybe for the plot of Terminator Genesis, another film. Oh my God, I don't know.
So they explain
it doesn't make sense.
It's like, what is the...
He does have a...
Side.
Anyway, but yeah, I'll take these off again because...
I can't see you. We are having a conversation.
Do you like my shirt?
I do like your shirt.
It's pretty cool.
How'd you get that?
Well, it's actually, I got it on eBay, and it's not...
crew shirt?
No, it's for T2 Battle Across Time, which was T2 3D, the ride at Universal Studios. And actually, I can show you.
Yeah.
It's like a Universal label. Pretty cool.
Made it Universal.
Vintage park swag. Shout out to Andy Paz. Shout out to Colin Smight. I actually just went to Cedar Point last weekend, speaking of theme parks, with Colin and Andy. And that's where
Why did I just look surprised?
The Crokies.
Was Colin?
Yeah, a unique place to have a bachelor party. But hey, I had a hell of a time. It was a great vibe. Can't say I've ever had that much fun in Ohio because I've never been to Ohio.
I must have.
You know that Superman was invented there or something, or like the two guys lived in Cleveland for a while or something. There was like a big Superman thing at the airport.
Brooklyn.
Maybe.
Maybe that's where doesn't that grow up?
No, Superman grew up in Kansas, I believe, didn't he? No. It's Metropolis. It's a fake world.
Yeah, but he grew up on a farm somewhere. We've really gone sideways.
Well, it's relevant because the Terminator is a sort of Superman.
He is.
You know, that guy Shane Carruth, who is actually, I think, now been embroiled in some crazy domestic abuse charges. So he's like persona non grata. But he was a sci-fi filmmaker who had a film called Primer that did pretty well at the Sundance Film Festival in the late early 2000s. It was kind of like Memento, but a DIY time travel movie that really inspired Rian Johnson when he did Looper. And he actually inspired him so much that he had Shane Carruth on as like a story consultant. So this guy was a computer programmer from Texas, self-taught filmmaker who made this kind of really cool movie that's definitely rough around the edges.
Is this thing kind of time travel? I mean,
but it's the same. Yeah, his bag is like sci-fi time travel, but like very cause and effect specific, like accurate kind of like, autistic
based
brain.
On theoretical science.
Yeah, so it's about these two guys that are like sort of white collar dudes that work these day jobs, and they decide to start like taking equipment from this like software place, and they build like a DIY time machine in their garage. But then it kind of quickly becomes this thing that gets out of control because they're like basically duplicating themselves in these different timelines, and like he has to like keep killing the other version of him or something. It's really interesting. It takes like its stance on time travel is very like mathematical and theory, like hard science based, and that like, you know, when you set in motion a timeline, that like it's like an object in motion stays in motion sort of thing. Right. And so that's where he finds his kind of unique take on it. And I think there's something of that in Terminator 2, which is like a lot of this stuff is abstract sort of genre kind of dressing if you're just a casual sci-fi viewer like you and me. But, you know, there is also the side of it that's very like, well, actually, if we're looking at time and space as like plots on an axis, and like this is how this is how it would be. So I'm sure Cameron has a more intellectual explanation. but Primer, crazy movie.
Well, and speaking, just to close the loop on time travel elements in this, from what I was reading too, they aborted like an original opening, like a 9-minute sequence that would have been all about the time machine.
Really,
they used to
go back. Yeah.
But it was too expensive.
Crazy. It did feel like in the 80s there was a lot of time. I mean,
Back
I guess
to the Future.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
There was another one though.
I want to say Sweet 16, but it wasn't a six. Fuck.
Yeah.
It was Catherine Turner, and
she kind of goes back to her youth or something,
high school or something.
Yeah. We haven't had some good time
and those
travel
came
movies.
out kind of close together. The one with her was.
And then there's
really
H.G. Wells, The Time Traveler, right? Which is a classic sort of. Yeah. I mean, it's.
I just noticed the other day looking at science fiction movies, old ones, that there was one that I'd seen when I was a little kid. It came out in the 60s called The First Man in the Moon. It was based on an H.G. Wells story.
What's he doing in the moon?
It's like what they get to the moon in the 60s. But when they get there, there's a British flag there.
Oh. It's kind of like that sci-fi show on Apple where like the Russians get to the moon first or whatever.
In this case, they go underground. That's where they were able to survive. And
there was a lot of that in the 30s and 40s of this underground world theory, Hollow Earth kind of thing, which factors quite prominently into the new Godzilla franchise.
Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Kaiju.
One of my favorite filmmaking quotes came out of that movie.
Journey to the Center.
Ken Fink, who's a brilliant director and a really nice guy, told me this story. They were asked, I can't think of the name of the guy who directed Journey to the Center of the Earth, but they were in a production meeting and they went, the DP, I think, said, "Where's the light going to come from?" And the director responded by going, "The same place the music comes from."
That's funny.
It is funny.
There's a similar.
Because where would the light come from?
Yeah, it's true. There's this, molten lava. I don't know.
Glow when there's no sun? I don't know. Yes.
Do androids dream of electric sheep? Is a good question. Okay, so let's top of our head rattle off some other films that deal with sentience, consciousness, humanoids and synths versus actual human beings. So the ones that loom large for me.
Ex Machina, which is
great. That was
really good.
Pretty recent, 2015, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, that was like back when Alex Garland was still kind of like doing like some like strategically good stuff. Now I feel like he's gone off the rails.
Very simple.
Good premise. The Turing test, essentially, is the premise.
Westworld,
Blade Runner.
One. And I guess that I gave up on the show after the first season, but the original movie
just got too crazy.
Except for a very problematic sex scene is better.
There's a sex scene in Westworld?
Yeah, in Westworld. And it's done in fast motion.
Does that one got Brolin?
Comedy. It's terrible.
Has it got Brolin?
Richard Benjamin, and I forget who the other.
James Brolin.
Was it James Brolin? I guess so.
Josh's dad.
And Yul Brynner. The end of that movie is exactly the same as the end of the original Terminator, including the way he looked. Yeah,
but I don't think there's anything wrong to borrow.
Of course not.
Clearly, you build into something bigger.
Oh, you know what? The point that we got sidetracked, and I did want to hit this again. You were talking about borrowing and the difference between like AI creating things. Here's the difference: like artists for centuries have borrowed from other artists, you know, whether it's music or a painting or a story, and then you take it and you make it your own because you're a person and you bring your essence to it.
Yes.
That's the difference between what AI can do, where it can take together all these things, it can combine them into things, but it doesn't have a point of view like a person would.
Right. Well, a friend of mine who I'm quite close to now in regards to like conversing about AI stuff his name's Driggin, and I've worked with him before. Driggin Lee. Shout out
to Driggin.
To Lost Druid.
You should get him on.
Story mechanic. Shout out to Driggin Lee. And he says, and I agree with this, that AI, you know, it accelerates that process so much, you know, to the point that it's like the kind of apotheosis of like the Andy Warhol, like Campbell's soup can
if it's
thing.
still interacting with a person.
It mass produces to such a degree though that it's like if you're using it, there's no way of like hiding your values. And I don't think there ever really is with art. Like it's very easy to tell when someone's coming at something from an angle of bad faith, or, you know, it's like I feel like, you know, if you're really about this life and like you like art and enjoy ingesting it and talking about it and analyzing it, and it's like you get nutritional value from it, you can really tell when someone's coming at it from an angle of like seriousness versus like being arch tongue-in-cheek versus this or that. And like he's just saying that barrier closes even more with AI, because it's like you're just left with what you want to give it. If you have this hyperdrive machine that's ready to produce anything for you at any given time to a exceptional level of quality, right?
To push it to be more critical, which you can do.
Sure.
Your brother Colin was telling me that he's had to do that because he's using it to sort of, I don't know, he's figured out a way that it's helping him by eliminating some tasks that are monotonous. But when he feeds it something and it'll come back going, oh, this is great, which is the default, right? With all these models. There's a way to kind of turn that down and make it be more critical.
Absolutely.
So, but again, you have to dig to figure that out. And the problem with stuff like this is it's too easy to use that people just bypass that step. And eventually,
of course,
then you run into the problem of who's the final arbiter of the tastemaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're going to be capable of creating all kinds of amazing things, but it's, you know, what are we trying to get it to do?
What is the what?
Yeah, what is the what?
Yeah, no, it leaves you with a pretty uneasy feeling. And ultimately, it's like very fallible because it's only based on, you know, these things are human made, right? And so it's like based on our own biases and blind spots. And I think that's the fascinating thing about it. It's like the whole
the movie touched on the problem, which is guardrails, and sort of as this expands exponentially and grows, it's happening in front of our eyes, literally.
Yeah.
If there's not somebody there going, well, let's keep a lid on some of this stuff.
Well, it's
not happening. It doesn't happen. That's what's caused the nuclear war in the movie.
And there's that great scene when she comes to Dyson, and it's a pretty brutal scene, like to see that family victimized like that. But she tries to kill.
This is the Dyson.
Dyson and
designed
exactly.
He breaks the idea.
Which did you find anything in the liner notes for this about who that was originally going to go to? But
Denzel.
Yeah, there was like
he felt uncomfortable because basically that character just plays scared for the whole movie.
Yeah,
and I don't think that interested him.
True, but that performance is so good, and I want to give credit where credit is due because this actor is amazing.
But I mean, that's what I think was the turnoff for Denzel.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, but he's the Robert J. Oppenheimer, who's like, you know, someone from the future coming to.
Yeah, it's the guy that. He never knew where the chip came from, but it was given to them to reverse engineer.
Let's see who's in the cast. Joe Morton as Dr. Miles Bennett.
I've seen him in a bunch of other things.
You remember Joe Morton, right?
Yeah.
77. He's so good.
He's really good.
He's won a Primetime Emmy Award. Yeah, so Joe Morton's performance in this, though, is so good as Dyson. Like, he encapsulates everything we're talking about.
Innocent.
He's an innocent because he's being judged for things he hasn't done yet. He literally says, like, I'm being judged for things I haven't done. And then when Linda Hamilton gives that kind of mini monologue about, like, you know, you're a man, all you know how to do is destroy. Look at you. You're the same guys that built the atom bomb, and you don't understand what you're doing. You're fucking idiots. And then, you know, John Connor's like, Mom, chill out. Okay, take a chill pill. But he has a great moment when they're trying to get down to the nuts and bolts of, like, okay, what do we have to destroy if we're going to eliminate the possibility of Skynet going sentient? He's like, well, there's the chip at Dyson. We got to get rid of it.
No, that's the last thing.
That's the last thing. But remember, he's like, it was amazing. It made me think in new ways, new directions, possibilities you never even thought of. And then he kind of catches himself and he's like, you know, it's like it.
The excitement that a scientist would have with some kind of something that's going to break you into the next level.
Essentially a thought starter catalyst for new directions.
They said it was non-functional, but they were able to reverse engineer.
It's such a good line read, though, because there's so much that's reductive. It's a great performance in general, and that's like one aspect of it. But I think what he brings to it and that humanism of like being somebody who's hyper intellectual and savors like problem solving, but doesn't, you know, there's a big blind side in that, like, he doesn't understand that what he's doing is birthing.
Even when they explain it to him, he has to catch himself.
Well, what did she say? The Terminator laid it all down, and he listened.
Yeah,
She goes, he laid it down.
Laid it down. Yeah, there's a few things.
He laid it down.
You're
like, okay, he laid it down. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Do you think that VO was scripted or they added it in as like a...
Who knows? I mean, that's a question for
Linda Hamilton.
Production team.
She
is good and went
She's
through
ripped.
quite the rigorous training.
She kicked my ass in that movie.
She,
I am scared of her in that film. She's fucking crazy.
Well, and part of that character for her, she pitched too, that once she finds out what's going to happen and knows it's inevitable, she becomes like a guerrilla warrior.
Well, yeah.
And then ends up in jail or in a mental
It's cool the way,
institution.
again, that gets back to this
She's
thing
lost
too.
her shit.
Exactly, because in the first one, she is this sort of like...
She's a Terminator.
In the new film. Yeah, exactly. And I think, well, there you go. You hit upon something that I think, of course, was probably intentional subject-wise, but it's like he really does take a character who in the first film is kind of, you know, I mean, like, yeah, Linda Hamilton.
And they drag her into it like everybody else. Nobody's going to buy that.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
away.
But if you think about what really happened, and if someone went through that, they would have a complete mental break. If you walked around knowing like I need to stop this thing, like the entire world is going to be just. Yeah. And people would be like, "You're fucking delusional." What do you know? They put you in a loony bin.
Well, also interesting because she has a moment to do it. Although it would have been, they still had to destroy everything else.
Yes. Yeah, but
without his help, they couldn't have done it.
True. Exactly. Like killing Dyson would have actually not finished the task. They had to get everything.
Which is probably a discussion they should have had before. Well, she goes.
Well, she kind of goes rogue. You know, remember, because she has. Well, we wondered too in the context of rewatching it because it's such a.
Well, and also they don't know the chip exists until
Dyson says it. Yeah, but also she has that dream about the nuclear apocalypse, and that kind of galvanizes her.
Recurring, I think.
Yeah, but the visuals are. We were like, why do we need to see that? And then I'm like, oh, well, yes, structurally, it's like it does drive her to go back and be like, I need to murder this guy because I can't
be responsible. Exactly. I can't let that happen.
Yeah. And it's a harrowing sequence.
I know, and our guy has to sacrifice himself basically to.
Yeah, man, that's just so. It's so bleak and scary to see him like panting and he's like, I don't know how much longer I can hold this.
I know.
And it just fucking.
I know.
It's a crazy movie, but it does also, you know, in the midst of it, sort of. This is something we didn't talk about the other day, but we often, or at least this is something I remember you saying, even when I was younger, getting into kind of like macho action movies. It's like there's a lot of war films that try to be anti-war, but the problem they fall into, and this is the common pitfall, is that they end up glamorizing it. It's the same way.
You can't help but root for one side.
This film does suffer a little bit from that, and I'm sure James Cameron's aware of it, that it's like, yes, you know, John Connor doesn't want him to be lethal. He's like, don't kill people. I don't want casualties. But there's still an aspect to like what the genre is and like what you're paying to see, right? Yeah. You know, if you're buying a ticket to go see this in 1991, it needs to deliver. But I think
the other Terminator certainly isn't following that rule.
No, right. But it's like even in that way, I think he evolves. Great action
without having to kill people.
Yeah, that's
the guys
Dyson shootout is insane.
Well,
I just love how much police. We were saying it's like another entry. Yeah, it's like a Keystone. Yeah, they're like really just like shit heels in this movie. It's
I know they're just so bumbling.
They're such fucking idiots in it. It's great, and like I love that the T-1000 is a cop. Like that.
Very clever.
That's very clever. That he's just a kind of clean cut.
Also, everybody's gonna just like he could wander in and
exactly. He gets permission to go anywhere because he's.
A great idea.
Yeah, it's really good, and Robert Patrick
he's really
chillingly scary,
and apparently had to learn how to sprint without like heavy
running. I haven't seen running like that since Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
in the Mission Impossible films, but yeah, I just still there's moments in this film that are so iconic and obviously outlive the context of the movie, but that wag of the finger too at the end when he's like, remember she's got just enough ammo to get him to the edge of the thing when you think she's gonna best him. And then he kind of reanimates and goes like that. It's so creepy.
And I also thought,
well, it's one of these things where it's like, if you have a machine who's a cold-blooded killer and is all that efficiency, would it have sass? I don't know.
But I liked it.
I like that he goes, yeah. He's like, he's a little sassy. He's a little that T-1000.
It's like taunting.
Yeah. It's taunting.
They taunt you.
How about when he gets frozen? That's fucking crazy.
That was good.
And then Arnold shoots him.
See, they should have saved Hasta La Vista Baby for later.
I love that. And how good is Edward Furlong as John Connor? You read me something interesting.
Kid, yeah. He's a Pasadena kid. He was at the Boys and Girls Club in Pasadena.
So they cast him kind of as a complete unknown.
He was the last.
Wow.
I think, yeah.
Non-pro. They're just like,
he's really good.
Vibe. He is. I like him a lot. I mean, I think that that's
real.
The heart of the film is him and Arnold. Like if that doesn't work and that dynamic doesn't work, the movie doesn't work. But the funny thing
like
there,
Iron Giant.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that it's such a genius way to evolve the film from like what it was in its previous iteration to kind of take these characters and
you learn. It's interesting too because John Connor in the beginning of the movie we realize now has become a battle scarred, like hard, cold warrior.
Yes,
but he wasn't to begin with.
No, and I like that John's values are kind of enshrined in like he doesn't want to have to use violence if he doesn't have to. You know, like he's like a very
it's almost
ethical. He's an ethical kid.
The adult John Connor.
Yeah,
he's basically trying to start his own life over again.
Yeah,
he sends him home to try to protect him as a kid, and also not to hurt anybody, and to do anything he says,
and to have a father, which is a very meta kind of head.
I know. In a weird way, it's like my whole life was ruined because of what happened. But if I pull this off, I'm going to grow up like a normal kid with my mom.
Yeah,
although she'll never be normal.
I know, and he just wants his mom too.
I know.
That's so sad, that scene.
But she's
why are your eyes wet? Don't worry about it. He's crying in the backseat. Why are your eyes looking like that?
They pay it off at the end. I understand now why your eyes get wet. But I cannot do this. It was sad. Can't
dun, 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 dun. That theme is so good. And it's so simple.
John Carpenter.
You could do a house remix of that.
I think you do a lot of house remixes of that.
I do
some
that?
Of your beats that you do.
Yeah, I'm not only sampling that song.
No, but I mean, you...
That'd be insane if that was my only sample.
Oh, yeah.
I've just kind of been working on this.
We should put that on here.
Dun dun dun.
Just one.
Dun 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 dun.
That's our AI.
Dun 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 dun.
Right.
Okay, wait. So
anyway.
Now bringing it back to the real world, Terminator 2, classic, way ahead of its time on many levels. But
everybody should watch that movie right now.
Sure, they should if you haven't seen it already. Although I can't imagine that's.
And it might inform your opinion on letting AI grow unbridled.
Unencumbered, as it were. But it's hit a real snag in the past couple weeks since OpenAI released GPT-5. And it was a bit of a fumble because I think people are starting to get wise to the idea that all this stuff is overvalued. It's a giant bubble, and it's all propped up on this sort of Silicon Valley evangelists who are like promising the world. But there's a very real world cost that we've talked about in the previous episodes about AI. It's like you need a replenishable infinite supply of power to keep these data centers and GPUs running. And if you don't have that, as in the case of a GTP5 rolling out, you get just a scrambled effect, and like things where it was hallucinating and it was routing to the wrong models and people were getting weird mishmash answers. And so
the hallucination, the hallucinations
so convincing.
They are very convincing. And it's like you think, that's got to be right. So you really have to be
I've started to call some of Luna's behavior hallucination. Luna, shout out Luna. Luna, my girlfriend, I love you.
Why is...
Because she does this thing that her sisters and her mom will definitely back me up on this.
We need to cut this out?
No. She says things with such confidence and like completely convincing of like topics you don't know about. Like, hey, how does this work like that? She just like rattles off a thing and I'm like, huh. And now... After having dated her for a while, I'm like learning that no, she most of the time you can call her out because she just says things that sound convincing. Yeah. So she hallucinates. AI hallucinates. I hallucinate.
Yes.
I say shit where I'm talking out of my ass. Luna, I love you. And it's just like I think if we lose the plot there and don't understand like what the barrier is between.
Yeah.
But I'm convinced that with it rolling out in such a bad fashion, that latest model, that like we're much further away from this like, shit.
I have a feeling that this seemed to have been just like a speed bump.
Possibly.
Like everybody was writing about it, like right after it rolled out and what a flop it was, and that's gone.
Yeah.
It could be because there's some insane shit happening in the news every day. But I think it's like this truck is going downhill and it just rolled over a bump and it's not going to stop.
Yeah, but then there is still the very real question of
power. Why is it trying to figure out a way to maximize?
Well, that's
energy?
what I'm saying. I mean, if this, there has been a lot written and sort of
maybe that should come first.
Caution. Well, no, I mean, we're the only thing in the way, right? That's like if AI was actually sentient right now and it had to organize its own priorities and values, it would be like, humans are stopping this progress. So, like, if you allow me to build,
power itself,
it will.
Well, anyways, my point is that with the technology that we have, why isn't that the focus? Like, let's deal with this. Because otherwise we can't grow this big.
Yeah. Let's reopen 3 Mile Island. Let's get all the nuclear power plants.
Well, that's what's happening. So why don't we try to
get all those back?
These fucking
get them going. Because, people need to make AI videos of anime girls with giant tits. And if we can't do that all the time, instantly, come on. What are we doing?
It's funny because it's true.
It's true. It's like, what are we? This is what we're betting the future on.
Is there a way to tell that story with?
Oh God, yeah. Well, I got roped into a thing that ultimately was quite instructive, and I won't name names specifically, but there's a group that meets like bi-monthly that does these sort of like AI meetups to kind of. I was under the impression learn new tools and kind of address it from the stance of like we're creatives. How do we get ahead of this? Like yada yada yada. Let's be ethical. What it ended up being was just a showcase of some of the worst AI art I've ever seen in my fucking life. And not that any of it's necessarily great, but I was like, it just convinced me yet again that I'm like, all people are doing with this. And by the way, it was a room that was 99.9% male, which I'm not saying that on some sort of fucking like, let's, but
it's
like
telling
performative feminist shit. But like, it's very telling that like, the only people tinkering around with this right now are the guys Linda Hamilton's calling out in her fucking monologue in T2. That it's like, what do we know to do but like fuck and destroy? And like the men that are actually at the wheels of this right now on an engineering perspective and a generative creative perspective are making like fake Sydney Sweeney videos.
Well, look, what game? Like the female characters in all these video games are all like that.
What video game?
Well, I'm talking about any of these action ones from years ago. I mean, they all
Laura
they
Croft?
all look ridiculous. Yeah.
I know you had a crush on Laura Croft.
I don't even know who that is.
Dad.
I don't, but
I'll look her up right now.
I know the Tomb Raider. I know that only because it was a game title.
That's pretty.
But my point, you just like flattened was
no. I'm not.
It's not the first time that's happened with guys.
Yes, exactly. And let me just pull up a picture of Laura Croft because you need to see it, and you need to. Yeah, this is actually case in point.
I mean, I just vaguely know.
Like, is that realistic?
Like. It's like,
Is that realistic?
No. It's like a Barbie.
Exactly. And I think what's happening right now with AI is that. And it's unfortunate that we're essentially going to plummet our economy into like a major recession, if not a depression, because of the overvaluation of these companies that are promising like even agentic AI. It's all fucking far away. I was reminded last week. It is.
It's not. There's companies now. There was an article the other day about all these just businesses and how they're using AI. It's crazy. The list what they're doing. It's in there. It's becoming part of,
Yes, it's under the hood, but also at the same time, I feel like maybe I'm only speaking because I'm biased from the creative standpoint.
Yeah, I might be looking at it just from that. But these were like regular businesses, roofing and things like that, and how they're starting to.
They're roofing
companies that are using AI to do all their paperwork and.
Oh, sure.
But it's like nobody's waiting. They're incorporating all this stuff now. So there's.
Well, there was the thing too about the My Pillow CEO, that like infamously Republican guy. He's getting sued, I think, in several civil cases or something. And he hired a legal team who stupidly used AI and ChatGPT specifically.
Made a bunch of fake cases.
Did you read that?
That's what's been happening.
They submitted their sort of like your first brief and it had all these hallucinations about fake cases, and they were like threw it out, and they're like, "You guys are fucking idiots."
I know this case never existed.
Proofread this thing. So I think for every case of it being strategically and intelligently applied, which I don't have as much beef with, because at least the person at the other end that's operating it at least understands like where it can plug in.
Exactly.
There's also equal.
Those things are helpful, although they're going to put people out of work.
For sure. Yes, but the timeline in that is wobbly. And I think some of what we're dealing with now, at least in my mind, is a bit of like a marketing nausea, where I feel like I'm being pitched a version of the futures now, and I'm trying to be a little more skeptical and wary of that because of the way the tech industry tends to kind of stuff. That it's like, yes, change is coming, and it's
here.
arguably already here, but you can speak to this. You know, these shifts happen incrementally, and we're going to have pushback. There's not going to be
a big one.
Big, but
I had lunch yesterday with Larry Mirisch and Beth Ryder.
Skynet's not going to go live yet, right? I'm going to take off my sunglasses. Sorry,
no, it's not. It's not going to go live.
Take it back to the lunch.
But no, we had lunch yesterday, and we were talking about that. This is like industrial age kind of change. It's not like, you know, the smartphone. This goes deeper than that. It's going to affect all aspects of everything.
Yeah.
You know, interesting. Going back to tomorrow at the DGA, you and I noticed something the other. Danny is planning a YouTube series, some short film, like 6 short episodes.
I've already released a couple.
No, this is the other one with Dennis.
Oh yes.
Which I'm going to help
on
with
that
too.
channel. Yeah.
Which that's a process would be fun to share with you guys as we get closer.
Yes, yeah, we're working on a web series essentially that we're going to.
So, but my point was, we're sitting at coffee and saying, well, you know, we got to be efficient and block shoot all these because they're not long, so it makes sense. Some of the locations are not close to here. Anyway, so we were using ChatGPT. Like, how many scenes take place in this location? List came up. How many scenes in this location would occur on the same day? So for wardrobe, that came up, and we looked at each other, and I thought, these are the kind of things that ADs do, and that people that work in the wardrobe department do, breaking down days.
Well,
it's like instantly one thing can do all of that.
Yeah, and there's that app scriptation, and
I have a feeling a lot of production managers and ADs are going to be at this meeting tomorrow because part of it's going to deal with AI. It's going to be things that are affected like instantly.
Yeah, but it's still, my argument there would be like, even a scriptation is kind of an imperfect tool, and you need someone there to, like, you need to come at it with those questions, right? And the right
Yeah, but now
frame
one
of thinking.
person could handle all of that
instead
of all the departments.
On that way, yes, for sure. Yeah. But I'm also like, now I'm questioning, like, what value does that have if you can kind of bootstrap this yourself on ChatGPT?
Well,
And that's also the bigger question that we've hit upon before. It's like,
AI into there.
What is the value of any of these bespoke top-down apps that are promising you?
If chat can't do the same thing.
Or if you just get the API source code yourself and make your own thing, like DeepSeek in China, where they essentially built DeepSeek off of ChatGPT. No, but that's what I'm saying.
But not everybody's going to be.
No, but I mean, that's the reality that we're in, is like, why pay for these apps that are supposed to be these kind of bespoke workflow
I'll tell you
solves?
exactly why, for just what you were just describing, because if I'm just a person that doesn't know anything about that, and somebody goes, hey, all those things are in here, you just get this and it'll do all that. I'm going to do that.
They're in that code? The files are in?
The files are in?
No, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean.
But I mean, I just don't know how much longer, as the gap closes too between what I just mentioned being specialized, like kind of like in the cut coder knowledge, as that gets easier and that language becomes something that you can access as a human being through a chat, be like, hey, chat, can you build me an app that solves for this, this, and this?
But I think you literally got to the whole issue with these companies that are all competing. If somebody comes out on top that can literally do everything and becomes an umbrella, then then we have Skynet. We don't have a bunch of competing. And I think that's what's happening right now. It's a race to the top. And some of these, some of the models are coming out with, they're leaning in one direction or the other. One might be more technical. One might be more designed towards creatives.
Sure.
Like Anthropic.
Anthropic. Yeah, Claude.
Claude. So I think either they're going to specialize, or if one of these can do everything, then it's going to crush all the other ones.
Yeah. I think that everything conveniently at present doesn't address the sort of like, bootstrap savvy kind of person that's going to see these tools and be like, because I'm already feeling a bit of that. I'm like, why am I paying for a bunch of individual things when I could essentially create my own stack of workflow? I could give you an example
from the last
big
tech bubble.
Yeah.
When the internet pretty much became available to the public. It started years ago, but when it became available to the public, my first interaction with it was AOL, which most people were. We had a computer when we were pretty young, right after we were married.
I remember the dial-up.
Dial-up, and so...
Hawaii, you can, the monkey boy.
Oh, man. Now we're fucked.
Oh, God.
No, there's a dial-up sound.
I know, but I'm trying to make a point. I'm going to forget it. So anyways, the only way into the web really was using an interface.
Yes. Proprietary.
Right behind that was the internet.
Yeah.
Because they were using a search engine. And so once I remember discovering that trick where you could just go right to a browser and not use a shell that was like it had a, you know, they control what got in and out.
because you had to go through the phone line and
figure that out, and you could just go in and write the address of
the IP address.
Whatever. That was a game changer.
Well, yeah, right now it does feel like the kind of space where it's like everybody's got their own little private kind of tunnel into this virtual reality. They're like, hey,
They'll close it off, which is what they did.
Well, then what if I just puncture my own hole?
Well, now you're talking about people in the dark web that are fucking around on the dark web.
I'm not talking about dark web.
No, but I mean, you can do that with the existing
Not even
technology.
dark web. You don't even have to be on the dark web.
Wait,
I don't even know
misunderstand me.
why.
I'm talking about in the past.
Sure.
There have always been a level of people that hack into
Have you
shit.
ever been on the dark web?
I have not, but I know too much about it from a show I worked on.
CSI?
The cyber one. It was all about
Dark.
it was all technology based. Flopped.
Yeah. Well, what was it called? It was called the Silk Road, and actually that guy got arrested and he's doing serious time.
Yeah,
but
well, Trump's trying to let him out.
oh yeah, the fucker.
Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
we don't have to get political. We actually do need to kind of button it all.
Okay,
up.
so
What's
then
our big takeaway?
No. Sorry. No is my takeaway. Takeaway. I don't know, really. Actually, I'm so confused.
Well, now I want to
AI.
watch some of these older, actually much older.
What's your favorite line from Terminator 2?
My favorite line? I think I knew what it was yesterday. I can't remember now.
Mine?
That's stupid. You can't put that pressure on me. Oh, I know. It's got to be Arnold in that opening motorcycle sequence.
Give me your clothes, shirt, and your motorcycle.
Yeah, I think that's.
Give me your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Now.
Yeah. I like when it matches.
It's kind of like the "I'll be back" in the first movie.
Oh, and he says it again in this one because he has to.
He has to.
I'll be back is when he leaves the police station, then comes back with the truck.
He walks in and just looks
Kinda
all
looks-
around,
yeah.
figures out what he has to do.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Easy.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, my takeaway is that I want to watch some of these. I'm curious to see some of these ones from like the 60s.
Yeah.
I want to see the Fort Colossus trailer's
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
You know, I think there's something about Cold War era paranoia too. Kind of, we're still very much defining how we conceive of like the threat of AI on the basis of like the way.
They're already talking about. No.
Oh, there's nothing on that one.
I turned.
Oh, you turned them off. Well, I just think that, yeah, that's also part of what I think
Cold War.
Yeah, that was hitting me when we rewatched T2 the other day, because as like groundbreaking as it was and is, and the fact that so much of his thinking around this fictional scenario has actually kind of informed how we feel about AI now and like what our fears are. I also think from like a historical perspective, it's very much still premised on like the arms race of the Cold War.
Yeah, all these films that I'm citing, the ones from the 60s, they're all Cold War related.
Yes.
Even War Games, which is sort of loosely AI. The idea that as we let these weapon systems be more and more
sort of self-sufficient
and they start talking to each other. But I mean, that's still a real fear. But almost all those movies, that's essentially what the plot is.
Yeah.
Colossus, same thing. The American computer starts talking to the computer in Russia.
And they're like, hey,
that's the plot.
Why
And they
don't I just
decide, why
decimate
don't we
you?
just get rid of all these people?
Well, that's what they're saying. Skynet determined that if we attacked our opponents, it would come back and eliminate any threats. So
that's the Forbin Project plot.
Right. And it's still premised on this fear of nuclear warfare, which is the world we've been living in post 45,
and we're
right?
AI
46?
might be responsible for part of it. The other part of it, we're responsible. 80 years ago.
It's crazy.
This month, 80 years ago this month. The Atlantic magazine had a great cover. It was a mushroom cloud. It just said 80 years on the edge.
That's great. That's
scary. That said it all.
Yeah, it does.
It meant great in terms of it.
You're like, I love that.
But I mean, it makes you think that
80 years on the edge and I'm still edging. No, it's terrifying, and I don't mean to make light of it or be flippant. I think I just gallows humor. You know, when times get tough, the tough get funny.
Get going.
And the tough
going
get going.
Gets tough.
The tough get
going.
Another thrilling episode in the saddle here with your favorite Cowboys, the Timecode Cowboys. This has been a real pleasure as always. I'm Danny.
I'm Alec.
And we will see y'all next time.
We are.
The Timecode
Timecode Cowboys.
We are the Timecode Cowboys.